This is going to be one of the most important videos when it comes to you growing your pickleball business because we're going to be talking about everything regarding mindset. And this is not only going to apply to you, but it's also going to apply to the clients that you work with. And the things that I'm going to be sharing in this video is what I've learned after investing over $250,000 in my own personal growth, working with people like Tony Robbins, coaching top CEOs, entrepreneurs, different people from all different walks of life, even Olympians. And if you apply what I'm going to be sharing with you today, what you're going to start to notice is a lot becomes calmer, but also shifts in terms of performance. Because really, our mindset has a lot to do with the action that we take. And if we're cloudy brain, if we have a lot of overactive thinking, if we're often distracted, and what's going to happen is we're not going to perform at the top level, and therefore we're going to impact things like self-sabotage, which is brings me on to number one, which is self-sabotage. So what is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage is when we have a part of us that wants to do something, right? For example, grow your business, get more clients, but there's another part of us, a subconscious part, which starts to pull back and say, that's too scary for me. So the most important thing to understand about self-sabotage is that very often it's a younger version of you that is scared, that doesn't want to take the action. So oftentimes I'll ask my clients, I'll say, when they're triggered and when they're in fear, how old are you? Not how old are you now, but how old were you when you first felt this feeling? And what we can start to do is identify the things in the past that stop us. For example, in business, rejection can be a big thing when it comes to sales, right? So if someone has the opportunity to make a sale, they may not do it because they're afraid of getting a no. And that's very common. That's actually why a lot of people certify, but they don't go on to actually grow a business. So the first step around overcoming self-sabotage is to become aware of it, right? Because we go through these different stages of unaware to aware. So when we're unaware, we're not aware of the thing that's causing it. But now you can go into situations and go, oh, I notice that. Is it me or is it a part of me? Right? There's a young boy, for example, or a young girl that's saying, that's scary. Oh, we can start to become aware of that. And then we can move into the stage of courage to actually move through that. Number two, which is fear. In my surveys, working with lots of different people, the two biggest emotions that people deal with, right? It's fear and anger. And actually, those two go together. So we have to understand when it comes to fear that it's an energy that we actually have the ability to shift. Now, a great example of this, actually, I have a dog, it's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, and dogs, what happens is that when they get attacked or something happens, that you'll notice that they shake themselves off, and what they're doing is they're resetting themselves energetically, and then they go off and they do their thing. If they didn't do that little shake, then they'd be walking around, just you know, in a very different posture, not able to really, really function. And so with animals, you'll see, a lot of the stuff on social media. What needs to happen is an environment of safety needs to happen in order for them to essentially come back to life and feel safe, and then they're happy, right? So one thing to recognize is that the past impacts fear, but we all get triggered by certain things in life and fear. And so what we have to do is understand that when we're in fear, yes, we can become aware of something and move through it, but often we need to understand that we need to shift our energy, reset ourselves. So, if I'm coaching, someone and they're in a situation, I'm going to give them tools to be able to reset themselves. And I'll share one with you a little bit later on in this video. So understanding that fear is an energy that we can shift, and also the acronym of false evidence appearing real is very useful when I share that to people, because it helps them to understand that often the thing that we fear is going to happen is not actually real, right? Number three, which is comparison. Okay, one of the things that's going to happen as you move into the business world, or maybe you're in it right now and you might be new to pickleball business, or you might have been doing it for a certain period of time, is that there will be these these plateaus. There will be these points of view having this resistance, and oftentimes that can come from us comparing ourselves to other people. One thing that you want to do when it comes to comparison is identify who, because when I share with people this, which is we're not we're not comparing ourselves to everyone. Is it somebody else that, if you put some stuff out on social media, for example, are you afraid that a family member will see it? Are you afraid that an old teacher will see it? When we start to pinpoint specifically who we're comparing ourselves to and why we're actually stopping ourselves from moving forward, that can actually bring us the awareness to move through it. And then what we have to recognize is that for most people, they're very kind, but what we're doing is, again, we're playing out scenarios from our past, and we're bringing that into what we're doing now as an adult. Um, it's also natural for us to compare. In fact, Oprah often shares a story about people who came on her show, and everyone at the end would say, "Was it okay?" Right? So we want other people to know that we're doing a good job. So also, some people need to hear that, right? Which is, it's normal for us to feel this way, but it's about us developing emotional intelligence and also energetic intelligence. Emotional intelligence really being the emotions that come up and recognizing, does it stop us from moving forward, or can we feel the emotions, recognize them, and still step through into courage, which actually is where we get a lot of energy from. The next one, which is routine. Now, this is very important for behavior change. So when we're trying to get a new habit, right, it goes like this. It goes behavior, habit, automatic. So if we're not doing things repeatedly, it's not going to get wired in as a new routine and to become automatic. Now, I'll give you another example with my dog, which is I've wanted him off the bed, right? It hinders sometimes, things, relationships. So if I bring him on the bed after he's been off the bed and he's been sleeping, on his own, and I bring him on the bed, that's fine. But if I do that again in a short period of time, it's going to develop it into a habit, which then is going to become automatic, and then I'm going to have to train him out of that. So something very important to understand also when it comes to pickleball, which is drills, you're doing something repeatedly so that then it becomes natural for you, and that's why you need to get the repetition and do the shots in, not just by playing games, but by doing drills. By the same token, the new things that you want to do in business that are scary right now, like maybe going on video or maybe presenting, being in front of people, that is going to get developed through routine. And it's always going to be scary to do it for the first time because we've not done it before. Just like asking to be paid if you're a new instructor or a new coach and you've not been paid yet because you've been in a job and now you're an entrepreneur, right? You're running your own business. So just understand that things will become natural and easy, and they will become wired into you after repetition. And that's very important to know about all different areas of business as you go into video marketing, as you go into sales, as you go into a wide area of things that actually you need to grow your business. The next one, which is courage, which again is an energy. So there's a great book called Power versus Force, and if you go to Google and you type in Power versus Force image, you'll see all of these lines. And basically, courage is the first kind of level of which we get energy. So the reason why I'm sharing about courage, which is whenever there's a breakthrough for a lot of people, it's going to be your clients, it's going to be yourself in different areas of business. What you're going to notice is that it's the things that typically we don't want to do that we put to the bottom of our to-do list. The things that we want to do that are easy, we're going to do. But for example, there could be a really great marketing idea that I share on some of my videos, some of my content, and you might be like, oh, that's really interesting, but it goes to the bottom of your list because it's scary for you, right? But it could yield the best result if you find the courage to implement it. So that's another thing to become aware of, which is what are the things that you're avoiding through fear. But if you took on the courage, it would actually create a breakthrough for you. You'll often find this also working with clients, right? In different areas, which is it takes them often you won't know this because maybe they won't verbalize it, but for a lot of people, just making that phone call and just booking in a session could be like one of the biggest things that they've done. And that's important to understand where the mindset is of your clients, to understand, why they're not showing up, why they're not following through, why they're not able to do certain things. Maybe you'll get a client come to you and something seems odd, but you don't have the background on the things that are actually happening in their lives, right? This could be health conditions, it could also be personal issues that are happening, and all of that's very important when you're not just teaching ultimately a game, a sport. You're actually working with that, all of the other things in someone's life. Especially if you're working with people for fitness or for health, right? What are the other things that are impacting the way that they're thinking? Maybe there's depression going on. Maybe they're coming to see you because they're at a turning point in their life, like I was, right, with my medical condition, and now that actually they've been suffering from loneliness and some mental health issues. Um, Number six, which is the window of opportunity. This is such a key principle, something which I teach in one of my bigger programs, which is, and James Cameron talks about this when he actually spoke about, directing movies. So James Cameron is the director of, Titanic, Avatar, and he says, you know, life and business is about this it's like a lock. And when the lock clicks and the door opens, you get to take the opportunity, otherwise the door will close. That is something to become hyper aware of when growing your business, because right now you might be watching this video in a stage where there's a window of opportunity for massive business growth, and if you don't take it, you may lose it further on down the line. There's also this in the micro level in different areas of business where there's going to be opportunities, again going back to fear, going back to courage. Maybe you don't take it because it's it feels scary. I would encourage you to take the opportunities when they come along, when even when you're a bit scared, because with some mentorship, with some guidance, that could turn out to be a massive opportunity for you. This is also applicable, for example, when I coach people and they're really struggling to get through things day by day. I'll say you want to watch out for these little windows. And I often use, the story around surfers because I'm here in San Diego and there's a lot of surf. But, you know, the window of opportunity is like the surfer that doesn't stand up on the board when the wave comes along. Or in pickleball, you don't take that smash opportunity, um, because you're afraid that you'll continue to do it the way that you've done it, and so you go for the safe shot, right? So the window of opportunity is that moment where there's something energetically happening that is inviting you to do something that's bold. I'd encourage you to take those opportunities moving forward. Number seven, and this is absolutely key on so many different levels, and I'll probably do another video much deeper. And if you've got any questions, post into the comments around this, which is meditation. Meditation has changed my life in so many ways. It's helped me overcome addictions. It's helped me to become a calm, more present person. It's helped me with, to reduce that anger cycle where instead of snapping, I am able to be present with what's happening and to control things emotionally. But when it comes to performance, meditation is so important because of the brainwave states that we're in day by day. And so if for example, someone's going in to play a game and they're all over the place in their mind, you can do just very quick meditations that ground you, that center you, that connect that the head with the heart. It's called the 18-inch drop, that bring you into the present moment, and then you're more intuitive. This also applies, especially, for example, I teach this going into sales conversations because, again, it grounds you. But the main thing about meditation is that you, instead of being reactive and meditating because you feel stressed, meditate so that you don't, right? So what we want to do is think about it differently, because a lot of people are in that cycle of, oh, I'm stressed out, and I've got this stuff going on in my life, and so I'm in anxiety, so I meditate. In the process that I actually teach over a 6-week period, I'm getting my clients to meditate every single day, which phases from 10 minutes through to an hour over a 6-week period. Again, to get that repetition, neuroplasticity, right? And that's basically when you're wiring and firing something so that it becomes habitual, right? As I mentioned earlier. But just the switch of, meditating in the morning so that you ground yourself. Also, if you're just feeling, during, um, you know, going in to play pickleball, for example, and just maybe you've had an argument with your partner, right? And you want to have a good game. Just taking some time to meditate, close your eyes, to center yourself is going to be really important. Also for performance too, in between matches, instead of going on your phone, right, and having a distraction which actually is overloading you, you can take time to center yourself, ground yourself, especially if things haven't been going your way. So meditation is massively used for performance, um, to really relax the nervous system, and allow ourselves to be calm and confident. Calm, confident, something which we can apply to all areas of life. And this is actually really useful for clients in so many different ways, especially when they come into you with different life issues and challenges going on. And now it becomes much like a prescription, right? Right now, I'm actually helping someone to get off medication because they've been just in an alcohol cycle, right? So depending on where you are as a pickleball coach, or in a business, maybe you run a club. I know that there's a lot of people watching this who are also going to diversify into different areas: life coach, nutrition, fitness, right? All of these tools really help you to add more to your toolkit. For example, I have a program that's, one of my most popular programs, and the thread of that is meditation, because now I teach it and I record it. But that's not a skill set that I had. But now it's something which I've been able to build a very, very successful program with, because I've developed that skill set. And you might not think, okay, it's, relevant right now to what you're doing because maybe you're not in that stage, but just by learning about it, using it yourself is always the best way, because then you can talk about how it's impacted you personally. The next one, we've got two more to go, three more to go, which is imposter syndrome. So this is more for those, especially who are new, and I understand that for a lot of people, maybe you've started pickleball, maybe you've gone into, launching a business, and you there's so many things that are new that just you're not used to. Understand that when you've not done something before, you're going to get that imposter syndrome until it becomes natural for you. So one of the ways that we can actually start to deal with this is, for example, get coaching around it. Talk about the fears in a safe place with certain people. Maybe you have mentors, maybe you have people that you go to, is very important. But also having and elevating that self awareness so that you can, um, you know, do have the stages in business that you're good at, and then start to develop things slowly over time that then you get positive rewards from. Because a big part of growing a business is, again, doing the courageous things and starting to, you know like a table, right? You've got four legs, starting to build those legs under the table to give you more stability. And when you have that mental stability, you're not going to feel that imposter syndrome as much. And also, imposter syndrome is also linked heavily to fear, which I've already covered. The next one, and the final two, the next one is beliefs. So when you're launching any business, okay, you're going to have certain beliefs about what you are able to do based upon what you've been surrounded by in your life. So I wanted to talk, while beliefs is a big topic in multiple different areas, I want to really talk about this, about finances. Because if you have a set amount that you only believe that you can achieve, that's what's going to be your cap, right? So if you have a statement and a thought of, I can only do this, and my belief is I can only get here, then that's what's going to happen. As you're stretched, and as for example, you get coaching, and or you speak to mentors, and you learn from other people's stories of what they've been able to do, that starts to open your mind up into what you can do. But if we've lived a life where we've been told stuff repeatedly, and therefore every thought that we have generates a belief system, right? It goes like that. Every thought repeated turns into a belief system, and then it becomes our identity. In order to change that, we need to observe what's possible, get different perspectives, and have people change our level of awareness, so that then we can start to install new beliefs, right? So, for example, if someone's, I'll give you an example outside of pickleball, but if someone is, addicted to alcohol, then their belief system might be nothing is going to ever change. And the belief system needs to be, I'm a non-drinker. Okay. Now, in order to get someone to have a different identity and a different belief system, just like, I'm only going to ever earn blank. Two, oh my God, I can make $1 million. Not that that's important, right? But if you want to make that, you need to make sure it's possible. Then the way that that starts to shift to actually really believe that it's possible is for you to move up in increments, right? To actually move through these different stages, because then as you move up in your income, then you'll be like, oh my God, I never thought that was possible because I've only ever earned this. If you spend most of your life earning a certain amount of money in a job, then you're not going to have the belief system that it's possible for you, especially if you're around people in a family, in a dynamic, and friends who have been living the same way. So there's amazing possibilities, right? And I know that you can achieve, more than maybe you think that you can. But we really the big thing that we need to do is understand that we can change our belief system. Because if we don't understand that we can change our belief system, we're not going to change it. And then we need to understand how to do it. And I can teach you more about that. And also, you're going to deal with that a lot when it comes to working with clients, because they'll come to you, and what may be stopping them technically with some shots is really led also by what they're thinking, right? And what they believe about themselves. And of course, it's your coaching and it's your drills and it's your positive affirmation to them. And it's what you say to them that they don't believe in themselves that's really going to start to shift them. So you'll understand over time how important your mindset is, because also we could see someone and instantly create a belief system based on what we see that's actually passed on to them. And we have to also be careful of that. And the final one, and very important, which is accountability. Because, talking about these topics, talking about mindset, talking about results, talking about getting someone to, be a great coach, we have to hold people accountable. We have to hold boundaries. We have to, a big part of accountability is giving consequences for certain things, not happening. And this is not about being unkind. In fact, it's about being very kind. In fact, I only think about people that I've been working with recently, and had they not had a high level of accountability, they would have been stuck in their old cycles and in their old patterns. So one of the things that we always need to do as individuals and coaches is say, am I getting accountability myself? Now, when I got sick with GBS, if you've not seen the maiden video, it's on my channel. But when I got sick with GBS and I was in my loneliness cycle, yes, one of the amazing things that really helped me was pickleball. But actually, prior to that, getting me to pickleball was the decision and the uncomfortable decision that I made, to get accountability by people who could challenge me because I knew that I was stuck. And that a lot of the time takes courage. We also need to be aware that this also can be a trigger for clients, because when we start to hold people accountable, it can feel uncomfortable, but it's on the other side of the transformation that they will thank you, right? And you know, you can use this in so many different ways. If you're interested in any of these topics that I've covered today, please post into the comments which of these topics you would like for me to go deeper on, because I could do very long videos on each. And I'm understanding that I want to wrap this video up just for time. So just to recap, we covered self-sabotage and what impacts that. We talked about fear, comparison, the importance of routine and repetition, right? Wiring and firing, neuroplasticity, courage, and that how it produces energy, and it's very important for getting results. The window of opportunity, right? Taking those windows and taking action. Meditation and the impacts on performance and also just overall lifestyle. Imposter syndrome, beliefs, and finally accountability. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that button, smash that subscribe button, and I will see you again for another video helping you to take your business and life to the next level. And I hope you change more lives this year, which I'm sure you will. Take care.